Hello everybody, welcome back to Stargirl Society, the podcast that inspires you to reclaim your power and start living the life of your dreams. I'm your host, Phoebe Goldsmith, and today we've unlocked a new location. I am in my living room. You're probably going to get some appearances from my pets. We've got Boo on the sofa right now, and one of my cats, Ginny, is behind me. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about what it feels like to mourn a past version of yourself or version of your life. To feel like you have peaked in life, in joy, in relationships, in friendships. Sometimes it is really easy to look back at a part of your life and to feel like you would do absolutely anything to get back to that version of you. And you can't possibly imagine how life would ever feel that good again. This is a very common feeling, I think, as you become an adult or into your early 20s. I do have an entire episode about being in your 20s, which I'll put on the screen if you did want to watch that. But if you're anything like me and you are deeply emotional and deeply nostalgic, this feeling can hit you at any point and at multiple points throughout your life, to the level that you miss moments before they've even passed, and to the point where you feel like you are not living life as you should be right now because all you're thinking about is a past version of you. So this episode is going to be for anyone at any stage of their life that feels like they have already peaked and that things will never be as good as they once were, whether it be in your entire life or in a particular area of your life. We're going to be covering the mindsets that keep you trapped in this feeling that you are past your prime. And we're going to be talking about how to make the mindset swaps for a more positive life so you can live a happier life and be ever evolving. You can try as hard as you want to get those moments of your life back that felt like the happiest you have ever been, but it is wasted effort. I have tried this. So instead of focusing all our energy on trying to emulate a chapter of our life that will never come back to us, let's focus our energy on questioning and altering our belief systems on the longevity of joy and success and relationships. Without further ado, let's get into this episode. If you do like it, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And if you like content like this, be sure to follow my Instagram at Stargirl Society Pod and my TikTok at Phoebe Goldsmith. One of the main reasons why you might feel like you have already peaked and you have already hit your prime is because you have not yet altered your mindset on what is possible for yourself. Sometimes the problem isn't that you think you can't have joy back into your life, it's that the bar for what you think is possible, the joy you think is possible, the relationships you think are possible is so unbelievably low, and you don't possibly think it can get better than that. You have to start thinking in a way and realizing that whatever joy you have felt, however good a relationship felt to you, or a friendship or a chapter of your life, you can have that tenfold. That relationship that you thought was incredible, you can have better than that. That time in your life when you thought that nothing could be more perfect, things can be even better than that. And you have to start adopting this mindset. Otherwise, your reality continues to be measured by a level of joy that a past version of you had, or a past version of you perceived. You're going around and looking for that when actually the universe might be sat in front of you saying, we have so much better for you, but you're missing it because you are looking for a completely different level of joy. A lot of the time we yearn for childhood memories, right? Because we were so blissfully unaware and we didn't even have a clue what was going on in the world, and we miss that ignorance and we feel like nothing will ever be the same, nothing will ever be like that ever again. It won't. Nothing will ever be like that childlike innocence ever again, but you definitely won't experience anything near that joy ever again if you spent your entire adult life yearning for something that is not going to come back. You need to realize that you can have so much happiness, success, and joy now, but it is going to look different than perhaps what it did before. So it's about broadening your horizons, raising the bar instead of living in a completely different life, living in the past. Another main reason why people feel like they have peaked in life is because they see things going wrong as failure, as punishment, as a sign that good things can't last, as opposed to seeing it as evolution and preparation for even more blessings in your life. Things can be amazing, things can then fall apart. What matters is how you see that phase of falling apart. How I choose to see that phase is that you are being prepared for another level. Things have to fall apart for you to be able to level up. You are constantly on your way to bigger and better things, but you can look at that like, oh, all good things have to come to an end. I knew that happiness wouldn't last. You have to understand that in order for you to reach the next level of joy, relationships, friendships, You have to let go of certain parts of your life, even if those parts of your life were absolutely incredible at a certain point. Stop questioning what the universe has in your path, because if it knows that you can reach another level of joy, but you have to let go of something that used to give you joy, then it is going to do that for you. But you have to decide that that is how things go for you, that that is how things work for you, that things only fall apart to get better. And it's the cycle of life. How many things in nature need to completely shed their layers and leaves in order to come back and grow better the following year? Think of the seasons. Life is not about always being happy. It's about choosing to be at peace with what is going on. You cannot expect the emotions of happiness and joy every single second of every single day. But what you can expect is that joy and happiness will always return, because that's, in my mind, the natural cycle. That is how the universe creates equilibrium in our lives, breaking down and then evolving from that, feeling like you're on top of the world just to come crashing down, just to go back up again. Life is about the ebbs and flows. And if you only focus on the moments where you feel happy and when you feel like everything is amazing, then when things start flowing in a different direction, when you start hitting those lows, you are going to feel like a failure, and you are going to feel like you've peaked and that your prime is gone, when really this is just evolution and preparation for even better things. Following on from that, I think it's very important to understand that the past is a lesson and not a punishment. When you feel like you've peaked and you are never going to be that happy again and life feels shit right now, you might feel like you're being punished. Sometimes this even leads us to holding on to happy periods of our life so desperately that we're actually taking out those moments because you feel like you're waiting for the moment that you're punished and it all comes crashing down. And what you need to realize is that every time life shifts in a direction that you weren't expecting, this is simply a lesson. You have to get out of the mindset that you are being punished for anything. Every single thing that happens is for you to learn, and it is for your greatest good. And if you continue with that mindset, then you're going to continue just living in fear when you are happy. And when you're sad, you are giving away all of your control when you could be cultivating energy in order to see, what is this lesson? What am I learning from what went on in a specific period of life? And how can I evolve and prepare myself better for when a new situation arises? And the mindset that someone just has it out for you, that you are a quote unquote unlucky person, guys, it's ruining your life. You can either be optimistic or pessimistic, but the optimistic person always wins, because even if the outcome of the story isn't what they thought it was going to be, at least they were not suffering in the meantime. Whereas someone pessimistic will suffer and suffer and suffer until the inevitable outcome of either what they wanted or what they didn't. For the love of God, stop branding yourself as unlucky, that these things always happen to you, because that is all you are ever going to see, and that is giving away your power completely. And that's not to say that you shouldn't allow yourself to feel pain and anger. You should, but instead of using that pain and anger to feel more angry and in pain when you look at the world, use that pain and anger and think, what is this teaching me? What is this teaching me about myself, other people, how I feel about the world? And what can I do with this energy in order to move forward in my life? Because ironically, the longer you sit around waiting for life to get good again and being pissed off that life doesn't feel good and you feel like you're being punished and you feel like the world's against you, that is delaying happiness and joy from returning to your life. Also, when everything in life falls apart, that means you can make it wherever you want. What a wonderful opportunity when everything falls apart to be able to completely start over. What a blessing it is to be able to start over, because that means that you can decide exactly what happens next. When the universe knows you are ready to level up, it's going to put you in a position that you've never been in before, a level you've never been at. So why would you expect to look around and see your exact life as it was in a new level that you have never existed in? When you reach new heights in your life, the whole point is that it's new. Most of the time, you're going to look around you and think, I don't recognize any of these people, these feelings, these opportunities. Nothing around you is familiar, and that's the point. You've never been at this level before. So when everything seems to fall apart and crumble around you, that is when you must learn to leave things behind. This is showing you that another level is possible for you. Allow yourself to be somebody new. The past version of you that you are desperately clinging onto, her joy, her friendships, her relationships, cannot possibly be a better version of you than the one you are today, because every second of every minute of every hour of every day you are evolving, and she is still within you. That joy is still within you, but that was not your prime. Your prime is always now. Your prime is your entire life, because you are always evolving into a better version of yourself. And we cannot use our external environment and what we can see in the physical to decide how good our life is going, because you never know what is in store for you. You stop mourning the girl that had her whole life together, that had the perfect relationship, that knew what she was doing, that felt present, that had a routine down, that was going to the gym. When you call your energy back to you and realize that your prime is right now as you are listening to this. Guys, that's really weird. All the lights in my living room just turned on for no reason. They are voice activated by a word. I'm not going to say it because I don't want her to hear. They all just turned on. Maybe it's a sign. Maybe that was a sign, guys. That was really weird. I'm going to Alexa, turn off living room lights. Alexa, turn off shelf. So weird, because that's the commands we usually use. How bizarre. I think that sometimes what we are looking for is right in front of us. Believing you have already peaked in life and believing that you have already had your prime is like walking around with a blindfold on. You could pass the love of your life. You could pass your new best friend. You could pass an ad for your dream job. You could pass someone who's holding out £1,000 in cash in front of you. If you have that blindfold on, if you fail to realize this version of you now has the power to take life in whatever direction, and you simply do not peak, you do not have a prime, you are always evolving, that is what takes the blindfold off. I think also it's important to say that society tells us our whole life from childhood that at some point life stops being fun. You know, something crazy you could do, decide that that's a load of bullshit. That is what makes people settle in jobs, lives that they hate, because they have been fed the idea that, oh, I've had my prime, I had my fun times at uni, and now life gets serious and boring. Who decided that? Do you understand how many years you were cutting off your life by thinking that way? Sure, if you settle in a job that you hate, you settle for a man that you hate, you get into a marriage with someone mediocre, you have kids because you feel like it's the right thing to do, yeah, life is not going to be fun. But if you flip it and have the mindset that actually life can be fun at any time during your life, then you are going to look for the jobs that bring you joy. You're going to look for the friendships that bring you joy. Surround yourself with joy because you believe you deserve it. We get to a certain age and so many of us think, oh, well, I had my joy. I don't really deserve to be joyful anymore because that's just how life goes. Fuck it. That does not have to be how life goes. Is adulting always fun? No. But does that mean we have to settle just because someone told us that adult life is not more fun? We have all experienced when you have met someone or seen someone in public or seen those absolute baddies that are like maybe in their 60s or 70s on TikTok. I love those videos when these women are saying, who knew my 50s would be my best decade of my life? I'm having so much fun in my 60s. I'm the most confident, sexy version of myself in my 60s. You get to decide if you live your life like that. Stop falling in this trap that you have peaked when you went to uni and that life is just going to be rubbish from now on. For as long as you have the mindset that joy can find you at any time and you are open to that and you are open to the evolution and the phases of life and what life has to offer and the lessons that you're learning, you will never peak. You will simply never peak. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did like it, comment down below the yellow heart emoji. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Follow if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and you can leave us a review if you would like. Follow my Instagram at Stargirl Society Pod and my TikTok at Phoebe Goldsmith. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.